Hey guys, what's going on? RJ here, and I was a little surprised to see this news. Apparently, Doom: The Dark Ages is a massive flop sales-wise. We've been covering this game for a while. We even have a specific playlist on this channel. I thought I was done making any content for Doom: The Dark Ages, but then I saw the sales figures, and I was like, "Oh crap! What is this? What happened here? Is it Game Pass? Is it lack of interest? Is it changes in the series? What's going on with Doom: The Dark Ages?" Anyway, we're going to get to the bottom of it. We're going to listen to a video by Dreamcast Guy, and we're going to see where I agree or disagree, and maybe we can get some answers here. So if you like this content, please like, share, and subscribe. Let's see what he has to say, and we'll discuss.
Fanbase. Doom Eternal is considered by a lot of people to be the best shooter of all time. Why is it that the Dark Ages seems to have failed? Now we're going to talk about it.
I don't know about best of all time. It is a really good Doom game, though. Doom Eternal.
We're going to take a look at some current player numbers and stuff, because I do almost think that this is indicative of a growing problem with a lot of games that are so high budget and really just don't seem to grab the love of the fan base in a way that they maybe used to have done. But
Interesting. We're going to the budget. That's possible. It could have been an over-budgeted game.
let me explain. Hi, hope you're having a great day, and if you could please give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already.
Ditto
Now,
here.
this is a bunch of tweets. I pulled up a bunch of stuff I want to take a look at, but part of it is just the fact that I wonder how much of this is the Game Pass effect. People have been discussing the fact.
I already foreshadowed this. Look, I'm going to go out and just say it straight up, okay? Dreamcast Guy is an Xbox hater, okay? The numbers don't lie. The numbers shocked me. But there is a Game Pass effect here. You're going to have less sales with a game that's on Game Pass. You just are. What's the point of having a Game Pass subscription if you're going to buy the game anyway? So if you have Game Pass, of course you're going to play it on there. It's part of the service. It rolls into the deal. But we'll see. Were the sales good despite that anyway? We'll find out.
Sometimes with games, this is the first Doom to launch day and date into Game Pass. Now,
Makes a difference, guys.
About the Game Pass effect, about if you're getting a game for free.
By the way, I don't hate Game Pass. In fact, I love Game Pass. I think Game Pass is fucking awesome. In an era where gaming is going up in so many ways, Game Pass is still a great deal, even though its price raises. It's a great deal. It's like $20 a month, and you get access to all these games day one. It's an excellent service.
How much that's going to affect the full price sales. If you're paying $70, $80, $100 for a game, how many people instead are going to go, oh, I'll get it on Game Pass? Or how many people say...
I think this guy could chill out on the $80 and $100 games because we haven't really seen those hit very much yet.
Oh, it's on Game Pass? It must suck. I do see that talking point. Now, obviously, that's not every single game.
Wrong.
There are games that still sell.
Game Pass games are good generally.
Game Pass, and it's still a monumental success, but these
At least
numbers
some of
are
them.
very provably bad. It had 31,000 concurrent players on Steam. Doom 2016 had 44,000 concurrent players, and Doom Eternal had over 100K. Now, I have to say...
Yeah, people love to use the concurrent Steam chart. It makes sense. And I mean, look, you could be somebody that is, a Game Pass player and you play on PC as well. So let's not discount that. Its numbers were worse than Doom 2016 or Doom Eternal. That's just a fact. We got to figure out why. Why, though?
When I see this, it seems bleak. But I think a lot of this does come down to the fact that people are blaming it on a lot of, in my opinion, tinier issues. Doom the Dark Ages is provably a slower game. The whole motto of Doom the Dark Ages is stand and fight instead of trying to zip line around or doing dashes and stuff. For the most part, it is about parrying blows, about trying to really melee down people with
Yeah, they definitely changed the gameplay up.
your flail and stuff like that. And I do enjoy it. I think that even though I gave it an 8 out of 10, I'm at the end of my second playthrough of Doom the Dark Ages. It is technically
Okay, this guy, Dreamcast guy, he'll tell you he ran through a game like 20 times. I don't believe him.
the worst of the current era Dooms. But even then, it's by the tiniest margin. But going even beyond that, high system requirements and the lack of composer Mick Gordon. Now, this is stuff that have...
Yeah, so high system requirements is interesting. You know, PC players every now and then will have to upgrade, and certain games come along that force you to upgrade. This seems like one of those games.
It's become very much a problem, which is that it is ray tracing required. This game, it requires an immense amount of power from your system, and it also makes it where if you're trying to play it on Steam Deck, because you can't turn off...
Let's remember, too, on physical copy for Doom the Dark Ages, it was like 80 megabytes and then on the disc, and everything else was downloaded, and people were pissed about that.
Ray tracing, this game is a real power sucker, and also just the fact that, honestly, it doesn't run particularly well, just in general, when it tries to play on a handheld. And also, I'll be honest, I am missing Mick Gordon. But, look, my thing is that when I see the combat of this game...
I did hear some people complain about the music. When I did my Doom playthroughs before, I loved Doom 1 and 2 music. When I got to Doom 64 and Doom 3, it was eh. And I know that Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal had good music, but I have heard some people complain that this music's not great for Doom the Dark Ages. I did hear that complaint.
They made this great edit where one of the things the game does is whenever you do a big parry, a big counter blow, anything like that, the game slows down for dramatic effect. Personally, I love it. I have seen people complaining about it, though, saying that it hurts the pace of the game, that you're constantly going into slow-mo over and over again. This edit has become incredibly popular where people are saying, I wish this was an option. I wish I could tell the game, hey, I know how to parry. Hey, I know what I'm doing. Hey, let me just choose the pace of it. I think it's just the fact that...
Yeah, see, I have heard... I don't want to sound like I'm talking out both sides of my mouth, but I'm just giving out both opinions here. It is divided in the audience. Some love the shield. They love the parrying. Others just don't think it belongs in a Doom game.
This game, something about it seems to have captured the audience.
New got to be curled line.
Something about the Dark Ages has just failed to capture the attention of gaming. Like, yes, it is having decent reviews. I actually decided to pull it up on...
Well, I mean... Man, I don't know. You might be making a mountain out of a molehill because the game is still an 85 on Metacritic. Generally, it has positive reviews. It only had 3 mixed reviews when I went over the review scores. But... I don't know. Yeah, it's a little step back, both in critical reception and in sales from the previous games. It makes you wonder what went wrong. Well, the only thing they did differently was they, like I said, they changed up some of the mechanics. And if fans don't like that, they're not going to buy it. So there you go.
I decided to pull it up on Steam. But this, 86 positive reviews. To me, it's not even about the positive reviews. It's the fact that it has about 9,000 reviews. Why is it that nobody is buying the game? Why is it that nobody seems to be excited about it? I do honestly think a lot of it just comes down to the fact that right now, stuff is so damn expensive. Maybe I'm being too bleak. Maybe I'm being too grand and contextual.
So this guy is like... He's trying to throw everything at the fucking wall to see what sticks. Well, things are expensive. Well, it's Game Pass. Well, it's the composer. Well, it's the changes in the gameplay. Well, it's this. Well, it's that. I'm starting to think that we're actually overblowing how fatal Doom was as far as its sales go. Because to act like it's going to have the exact same sales as Doom Eternal, while also being on Game Pass day and date, would be totally naive. So maybe we're all just overblowing the lack of sales for Doom.
Joel about it, but there have been more and more studies that there are people, even hardcore gamers, are buying 1 or 2 games a year instead of 4 or 5 or 6 games a year. People are buying 1 to 2 games a year. And I think that it started to become that thing where if your choices are Doom the Dark Ages, which is a good game, but it's about 15 hours long, and it doesn't really have that replayability. There's not a ton of collectibles. There's not a lot of stuff. You can 100% platinum it pretty damn easily. Or if your options are to buy something like Expedition 33, a $50 game that I've now put almost 100 hours into, it does become that thing where people start to say, okay, why this? Why?
Okay, you bring up a great point, and I'm in the exact same boat. I dropped the $50 for Expedition 33. I did not buy Doom. Okay? I could have gotten it too. I could have gotten Elder Scrolls 4. I think what it comes down to for me is this, and maybe other players might feel the same. I want new experiences. Yes, Doom is an established IP, and some established IP I want to jump into again, such as Mario Kart, right? But when it comes to Doom the Dark Ages, I looked at that game and I'm like, alright, this is another Doom game. There's some changes there. Maybe they're better, maybe they're worse. I looked at a game like Expedition 33 and I go, this feels new, this feels fresh, this feels exciting. And it's cheaper. So overall, it just won me over in the marketplace. And I'm sure it happened to a bunch of other people too. And we talked about that budget size. I'm sure Doom the Dark Ages budget was several times bigger than what Expedition 33's budget was. And Expedition 33 is very happy selling millions of copies.
Why even care about it? Doesn't ever get tiring, constantly trying to look for the worst in everything. This is not meant to be a discussion about Doom the Dark Ages specifically. I'm just pointing out how exhausting it is to constantly be looking for a gotcha with every single game released. Now, I'll admit that I'm sort of bad about this as well, which is that I'm fascinated by the dumpster fires. I'm perpetually fascinated whenever a game seems like it's going to take over the internet, and then it just doesn't. But even more than that, I almost think that my point of view is the fact that there is this special extra flavor, this touch, that a lot of games are lacking now, which is that they don't seem to capture the attention of the audience.
I'm going to stop you there, Dreamcast guy, because sometimes you need to look in the mirror and ask if it's you. Because I can tell you this, I've enjoyed gaming the last few years. While many others have bitched and complained and pissed and moaned, I've never been into gaming more now than I've ever been. Despite microtransactions, despite bullshit live service games, I feel as though I've never had more options than I currently do right now. I've never had more fun than I currently do right now, and it only seems to be getting better. I know people complain about the prices. I know people are upset. Maybe a game like Doom the Dark Ages isn't exactly like Doom Eternal 2.0. I can't speak for everyone, but neither can you. You are burnt out on the industry. When you sat there and you beat games multiple times over, you're burning yourself out, dude.
Lacking now, which is that they don't seem to capture the attention of the audience. Maybe it's just that I'm going outside my bubble, but it does seem like, in general, the internet, we've seen less fan art, less cosplay, less fan edits, less people capturing gameplay and turning it into a meme, less people doing silly wojacks of the Doomslayer. And I almost think that there is a marketability to the meme factor of taking a game and blasting the soundtrack.
Who cares?
Recorded Dooms. People used to do all sorts of memes where like a normal person's doing a normal thing and you're blasting the Doom soundtrack. I feel like the Dark Ages never managed to drum up that silly excitement that is actually mandatory for the game itself.
No, it's not. No, it's not fucking mandatory for the game itself. Okay, it's just not. All right, they got a little bit of a bag because they're on Game Pass now. They sell less units because of that. People might be a little tight on their money. All is a factor in the marketplace. Okay? But your whole idea about where's the memes for it? Who gives a rat's ass, brother?
Love that the other games did seem to have. I also see these very, 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 very long posts about, hey, this is what it's failing at. It's lost that. There's too much talking. There's not enough stuff. It's not about one man standing against hell. It seems like the Dark Ages ramps up the story more than Eternal, but with all these new characters, why should I care? What's next? Prehistoric? Doom Samurai Wars? I think you see my point. I was excited at first, like everyone else, but the more I saw the story, the less...
Doom the Dark Ages could be a slippery slope. It could be something where, okay, we're taking the series in a direction, like Assassin's Creedifying it, if you know what I mean. Hopefully not. Hopefully Doom will come back in 4 or 5 years and maybe try something else. Or maybe bring back the feel of a Doom Eternal or a Doom 2016. I'm convinced now. I thought going in we were going to see total flop numbers here based on what I was hearing. It doesn't seem that bad. The game just seems slightly down-ticked on reviews and slightly down-ticked on its sales. And I don't think there's any reason to be hair on fire about it unless we hear about the studio saying, oh shit, we lost money, which I doubt they will. So I think we're going to wrap up here on this one, guys. Overall, I'm going to say nothing burger on this. I'm going to say, yeah, it's lacking a little bit in the sales department, but it'll be okay. It'll be okay. There's no reason to cry over spilt milk. There's no reason to be doing 10-minute videos like Dreamcast guys doing about just another way to bash Game Pass. Like, dude, if you want to buy full-price games, no one's stopping you. You don't have to have Game Pass. But this is also the same guy that says he hates the Switch 2, but he has to get it for work purposes. Work purposes. No, you don't have to buy the Switch 2 for work purposes. You're being a little self-entitled. That being said, still check out Dreamcast channel. Watch his video in full if you'd like. And thank you all for watching. RJ out. Have a good one.